everybody, it's Amanda, and I have my husband Jordan here.
Hello.
So,
lights. Camera action.
We have been really kind of unsure how to make this video because it's going to ruffle some people's tail feathers a lot. You think?
Not really.
I think that, like...
I mean, really judgy people always get their feathers ruffled because they're, snowflakes, to put into nice terms.
So, we wanted to talk about what debt that we need to conquer and what savings we need to conquer in the next however long this will be, because we've had a lot of changes in the last couple of months. Now, if you are new to my channel, my name is Amanda. I'm 35 years old. I live in Oregon with my husband and my kiddos, and I have been on a low income all my adult life. Jordan, you've been on a low income your whole life, right?
Yep.
Jordan comes from a large family, so.
Large poor family.
Large poor family, correct. Now, I do have a debt pay down workbook in my Etsy shop. I'm done being in debt. Stop giving away your money. Pay off your debt. It has a instruction guide of how to utilize this workbook. You're going to do a debt confession where you're going to be honest about all the things debt related. Now, most people say pay your debts smallest to largest, but we are currently working on what's affecting our budget.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have tons of debt payoff pages. Jordan actually put this together. I create the art for it, but he puts it together. Each page has 2 debt columns where you can list each debt, and I left lots of room so you can start making your payments. And there's tons and tons of pages if you need more than, enough to pay off that debt, however you have to do it. And then in the very back page here, we did a 1-year check-in because you want to compare your first debt confession to a year later. It doesn't mean that the debt payment is done. Doesn't mean that you are completely over with your debt.
Yeah, it's not a challenge to bum rush you to pay off your entire debt in a year. It's just a
where am I at?
Yeah, where am I at? How's it go? How is it going?
Well, and you also then know what debts you have left.
Yeah.
And really what you want to tackle.
How much is left in a debt or on a debt.
Because some of you guys have some larger debts. And that's okay.
Yeah, we're human. That's just, we gotta do what we gotta do to survive. So there's no shame in it. It's just like, this is a tool to help keep track in a cleaner way if you need it. So
we have that in our shop. So go check that out. I'll leave it linked in the description box down below. I appreciate anybody who has ordered this. We actually got quite a few orders so far, cool, which is really nice. It is not laminated just because there are so many pages, you guys.
Not only that, laminating it would make it
less affordable.
Less affordable and harder to use because
off.
It'd be wiping off. So we didn't want the smudges to make somebody get confused. So we just figured we'd go simple and try to keep it as cheap as we can.
Because we know you guys are on a low income too, for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay. So I do have this giant coffee. Before anybody judges me, I rinsed this cup out, and not gonna lie, I made the coffee at home. So I have drank half of this giant coffee here.
Who's gonna judge you? Everyone.
Everyone.
Everyone, pretty much everyone that's a constant, has been pretty consistent with the channel, has been really nice, and also do coffee at home. So I don't know who's going to judge you besides some random passerby that doesn't matter.
So let's be honest. We have some credit cards that we need to pay off. The ones that are highlighted are paid. The 2 are not. This is actually the lowest it's ever been, and it's not 336. It's like 274 or something like that. Or was it 268? Something like that. Something in that ballpark. This credit card, the interest rate is high, and this one is the highest interest rate out of them all. And this balance can only be $1,000. And this is actually even lower this time because I did make a large debt payment to both of these, so that helped. So we're roughly a little lower than $1,329.14 in credit card debt altogether between the two of us. And then we have a couple of personal debts that we are considering working on. But Jordan wants to explain the method to the madness because he explained it so well the other day.
Did I?
Yes. So, are we going to save or are we going to pay off debt?
Really both. So the goal is to get the most affecting stuff dealt with.
So like the monthly stuff?
Yeah, so, and then pretty much ignore stuff like medical debt, at least for the time being, so we can start saving as fast as possible, so that we can stop playing stop or red light, green light with any potential problem that may pop up, because that's been how it's going.
Yeah, we're pausing and going and pausing and going, and it's very mentally straining.
Yeah, it is. And so with this, hopefully we can just tackle this stuff that immediately affects our budget, and then save up as much as we can to try and put ourselves in a better position, and then when that has been achieved, then start dealing with these other debts. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there's some debts for me that I'm just never going to pay, and they're just gonna have to deal with it.
Why is that?
Because for instance, the medical one is they never charged my insurance, even though I had insurance, and I told
right
them,
now and for the last few years we've had Oregon Health Plan, you guys.
I told them to charge my insurance. I gave them all the information. I made calls, and they still didn't do any of that. So at this point, they can just go without their money. Legally, they cannot turn me away if I have a medical emergency anyway, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they get their money or not, because if they do the right thing next time and they charge my insurance, they will get money. So I mean,
we both have a medical debt from the pandemic that happened,
yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of you guys, and we've talked about that in the past. If you've had that happen to you during the pandemic, let us know in the comments down below and how you dealt with it, because this is now a couple years, and we have legitimately called.
Yeah, I obviously I made more of an effort in the beginning, because there was a grace period. I think it was 2 months.
Yeah,
there was 2 month period where there's okay, we can back pay the insurance and everything, and so really tried. But no one apparently wanted to do their job at the time, so I mean that's their own fault. I'm not going to pay out of pocket for a mistake that I didn't make. So that's just how that's gonna go. On the other hand, there are some other debts that we do want to eventually get dealt with, but just don't seem important enough to bother with at this time.
Now, a lot of people are confused because they want us to go back to an apartment.
No.
Do you want me to show them the math?
No.
Not really?
No.
Let's do it really fast. It'll be quick. So,
you say that.
We were paying $14.80 a month for a low-income townhome. I say that in quotations. It was
just an apartment with a second story.
And every year, our rent would have gone up 10%. Now, in the last 2 years, our rent hasn't gone up, and we've been paying $5.50 a month for our space rent, where we own the home, but we don't own the land. So we live in a manufactured home. Most of you guys know it's a 1966
I should also specify that this apartment was when I say second story, it had 2 other bedrooms and that weren't very big and a bathroom upstairs. So I mean, it's a very narrow apartment. So don't think we just we had a house. No.
Yeah, we did not have a house. Okay, so in 2 years, time, we would have paid 10% each year. So the year that we moved into this manufactured home, we would have been paying $16.28 because our rent was going up 10% every single month. Okay?
Not a month, year.
Or every year. I'm sorry. Every year. I don't want to confuse anybody. So that would have been the first year that we would have had to pay extra money. So that was year 1. Year 2, we have to add another 10%. So we would have been paying $17.90 for this low income apartment in our state of Oregon, in our area. Okay.
And keep in mind that this is also one of the more cheaper low income.
Like ghetto.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say ghetto.
Dude, there was
the paint was bad on the outside, but I mean
they were like from the 60s.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean ghetto.
No.
Because they were fine structurally. It was okay. It just needed a paint job. And
well, the one thing that did bother us was the fact that they wouldn't fix our stove.
Yeah. No, that was just negligent property management.
Yeah. So they weren't fixing anything for us. And we had lost a lot of opportunities to get things fixed due to the pandemic. Okay. So
my quotations on that there was a pandemic.
I know, but that was her excuse. Okay. So if we did calculations, we have been paying $550 a month for 2 years now. So we saved ourselves $1,240 and some change, okay? And then we pay water, sewage here, and garbage, and we've only been paying that for the last month because that is new with the new mobile home park owners. The new owners, okay? So that averages out to be $33 for garbage every single month. That does not change, okay? And then the water, sewage, garbage is based off of an average as well, but we have been told that our biggest bill was $45. So we're really saving ourselves quite a bit of money not living in an apartment, okay? A lot of money, and that's if I could get us into another apartment at that price because they're so high.
Yeah, and they want you to make 3 times the rent. So that's another thing. Is around here it's 3 times the rent, and with that being one of the cheaper apartments around this area, like we're not. What is that? Almost in 4,000. Oh yeah, 4,400. And then
so if we had to pay if we had to show 1710 times 3, we would have to make almost $5,130, and that's not including the deposit and the move-in cost. And I had to pay an extra deposit when I moved into that apartment because I have an eviction.
And keep in mind, there's no jobs
that are going to pay us
that. Mm-hmm. Not without, and the thing is that it's not just like a total in household. Each person has to make that.
Yeah, because my dad was in a situation.
She can't make 2,000 and me make 3,000 or 2,000, and we just we fill out the rest by finding a roommate with one that makes 1,000 or 2,000 a month. And no, every person has to make that amount individually.
So my dad was in a situation where he was renting with someone, and that other person wanted to leave, and he had to make 3 times the rent by himself. But when he moved in, each of them had to make 3 times the rent. And being an older individual, as some of you guys know, that's really hard.
I mean,
And
it's really
we're
hard for-
having a hard
I
time
say
as
it's
younger
really
people.
hard for anyone because not only are the wages not enough, there's not enough hours in most places.
Yeah, they know from my job. I've told them.
Yeah.
I'm scheduled not 1 but 2 days this week. Woo! But anyway, it's just hard, so the apartment thing really won't work for us.
Yeah.
No matter where we go, I think that would just never work for us.
I know we're not reaching friggin' New York level, like New York levels of rent, but like it's still doesn't mean it's any more obtainable for our location.
Well, you have to remember, you guys, people like my friend Marquisha Renee, she lives... Girl, I could drive to you. I could drive to you. I was like, oh my gosh, when she ordered this, you guys, I was like, girlfriend, you're in my region, so
we could hand deliver it.
we could hand deliver it, and literally a hop and a skip at a trip. Not in Oregon, but just a drive. But
close enough.
but I mean, honestly, you guys, like, we're all really struggling to figure out housing, right?
Yeah.
And for us, this was never meant to be a forever home.
No, this was a for now and try to get our footing and then move on. And we'll just, like, we don't know where we're moving on to, and we're going to figure it out.
Well, and the other thing that we have to think of as well is...
We got a really thought-provoking message about how we just really have to take a leap of faith on it, because they did point out that we were pretty much just spinning our wheels here because something always seems to come up, which is it's true. Something always does seem to come up to kind of nip at our heels and drag us back to square one, so to speak, and it feels bad. It just feels bad to just do that all the time, and a lot of people get really nasty to us about it. But I mean, which doesn't make sense because it's not their life. It's like you're just terrible, or you're just blah 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 blah, making really nasty comments. It's like, okay, like, it's my life. You have no stake in this other than watching it on YouTube. So I don't get it. It's just, dumb people being dumb, because they want to be. But this person was very sweet and just telling us that maybe we just have to do pretty much this and just give ourselves the best chance we can, and then just and then just kind of do something drastic.
Well, and honestly, you guys, the bulk of my debt is these 2 credit cards and a few personal bills.
Yeah.
I don't really have any other debt. I don't have a car payment. Neither of us have student loans. Neither of us have anything really hanging over our heads as far as exponential debt that is just kind of floating around. If we paid off these 2 credit cards and the chunk of the personal debts that I pay every single month, we pay every single month, we could actually be in a really good standing.
Yeah.
Now, Jordan, a lot of people ask me this specific question. How do we plan on finding housing as low-income people? If everything was to fall through with the mobile home and we had to sell it or drag it off to the dump, which would be, obviously worst case scenario.
I mean, we wouldn't be doing that anyway. We don't have the loopholes to do that would be far too much.
Yeah.
Sophie Ann.
She's
mad.
She's getting aggressive over her food. The little dog is.
She's the only one that does it too. Everyone else is chill. She's a little haywire.
So when you're talking about loopholes, you're talking about we, by law in Oregon, we cannot move this mobile home. It's too old.
Yeah.
So if they wanted us to do that, that would be illegal.
Yeah, so essentially, if the park really didn't want this house here anymore, they would have to pretty much buy us out, and then they would have to then dispose of it, because I mean we can't.
Yeah.
We just don't have the money, the resources, or anything else. So they would have to buy us out of this, and whether it be, obviously, it probably wouldn't be as much as some of these that are being purchased, because it's just getting scrapped, but hypothetically, obviously not a set in stone kind of thing, but like, so that we would still come out with a little bit of something, but it's not ideal.
Now, we only got this home for $5,000, by the way, and I think that there's also some confusion that we need to clear up. Someone thought, why are you putting on a roof? Why are you fixing windows and doors? Sorry, I had an itch in my throat. Why are you doing these things and putting all your money into this? We're not.
No.
This is a free program.
Yep.
So anything that's been done to the home so far, other than a few plumbing things and the work Jordan's done underneath the house, it's been free and clear to us, because it is a program that's doing it for us, because we are on a low income.
Which I'm not sure how, hypothetically, if they were to scrap this thing, how before the time frame ended for that, we'd probably have to argue that they would have to pay them back too, so we're not paying out of our profit, because it wouldn't be technically a sell.
Yeah, it would be a buyout. I guess we need to ask the program that too.
Yeah, that's something we need to think about. But back to the conversation.
Debtor savings.
Yeah, so we're just gonna hyper focus these down, and to open up as much income as we can to then start saving.
So now, when you say hyper focus, does that mean that we're only going to focus on debt, or are we going to work on savings as well?
I mean, it'll be good. Like, it'll be important to save a little bit of something, even if it's just like dollars.
Like an emergency fund, yeah.
At first, because then as we pay these off, it'll open up more and more and more. But like, it'll be better to start now. And because then if something were to happen while we're paying these off, then we have a little something saved, and because then we're not, putting stuff back on these credit cards and then cycling the infinite loop of debt. So it'll be important enough to really try and give ourselves the best chances of success through this. And so that's why I think that's the best course of action, because obviously this isn't the whole lot, and then our personal stuff is like obviously more than this, but like these ones are the immediate stuff that's affecting our
this is affecting our budget now, here in the now.
Yeah, so we get those down, it'll help a lot, and then we focus on the personal debt, and then try to save as much as we can amongst all of that.
Well, and honestly, you guys, if I was to pay off this debt in phase 1 and phase 2 be the personal debt, I only have one medical debt left, and I only have 2 collections that are so old that I was told by a lender just not to pay it. Because, they're from 2017, and that one could drop off, because I haven't contacted that company since 2017, and it didn't pop up directly. Sorry, she is very protective over her food, by the way. Sophie is the little Yorkie Chihuahua. And no, Violet is not trying to get to her food. The cats are. Oop, you just lost my light, bro.
There we go. It was hanging on by a thread.
So anyway, we are going to be aggressively paying off this debt as fast as we can, but we also need to save. And here's another thing to think about, and Jordan brought this up. What happens if we know something drastic is going to happen? Because this new lease starts in 2 months. They're giving us time. But what happens? Do we pay the debt off, or do we aggressively stockpile money?
Well, honestly, like, I know we wouldn't be, like, homeless per se. Like, we have somewhere to go, at least for a short while, if things were to fall out from underneath us. So at that point, I think the best course of action is still to focus down these credit cards, and if things go through, then we have at least a couple of months at this other place, and then there would like that at that point over there it would be
Aggressively saving for another place.
Saving, yeah.
Yeah. So instead of tackling that personal debt like we would want to, we'd have to take a time out. Okay. Yeah. And the hope is that we'll get these two paid off as soon as possible.
Yeah.
As soon as possible. And it is spring break, and because I don't have a lot of hours right now at my hourly job, and Jordan has a new job that he needs to talk to you guys about, which he's still gig working, by the way. He does work. He's real man certified. Anyway. We want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence during this time, because our bills are paid. We don't have anything else that we have to really pay for. We can replace some gas money for doing some gig work over the next week. But we also want to spend spring break with kids, because they're only going to be this young so long.
Yeah.
So whatever we make by the end of the month, hopefully we can at least pay off this. That would be great. Now, Jordan, how do you feel about people who think that you just don't work?
Honestly, I don't care. Like, people are people, and they're going to think whatever the hell they want to think. And I'm not here to prove myself to anybody, so I'm
not either.
I just don't care.
We're just showing you guys our real lives on a low income. Honestly.
Yeah.
Like, what you say to me is...
People are going to find a way to criticize us and judge us, and it just gives me a reason to argue with them on the internet, and so I'm not monetized, so I can say and post whatever I want and reply, so, I mean, let's do it.
But you are going to start an hourly job.
No, I am, yeah. And that should be happening this coming week, I believe. But we'll keep you posted on that one, so.
Yeah, you'll see it in budgeting videos where we talk about finances.
Yeah. And so that's what's happening so far with that. Like, I don't want to talk about it like it's like happening right this second, because there hasn't been a solid timeline on when I start, so.
Is it going to be full time?
I don't know.
It's hard to say in the economy, huh?
Yep. So, we shall see.
Now, we do get asked questions like, what is going to happen if we need a loan? Are we going to be able to get a loan on a low income?
Probably not.
I mean, it's not impossible. Now,
I mean, maybe if I put my kidneys up for collateral, but, you know.
But I think that a lot of it, too, is, like, we have a plan, and we're not, like, outwardly talking about it. But we do kind of have a plan, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, and again, that person that did message us, that, we are thankful for that, because without that message, we kind of danced around the idea, but weren't sure if it was something that would be feasible. But like that message really kind of is like, okay, like, yeah, this is probably the way we have to go about it. And so it was very thought provoking, and it did kind of reassure us that like we weren't crazy for thinking the way that we were about just going the way of Nike. Or just do it.
Yeah.
So like, thank you again. I forget the name of
Becky.
Becky. Yeah, sorry, I just woke up. I can.
By the way, when you see this video,
I work it later.
When you see this video, you guys, it's still morning time here in our time. By the way, he's not sleeping all day. It's like 9:30 in the morning. Okay, but you know, I mean, we are doing the best we can with what we've got, and we do have a plan. We have a plan of action that we're not going to share with you guys, because we want it to be a surprise.
Not only that, it's one of those things where
touch and go.
Yeah, it's a touch and go. So we want to kind of focus on it without spending a lot of our energy kind of documenting it.
Yeah. Because when it happens, and it'll be better if we just, instead of being like, and this is what happened, and this is what happened.
Like, obviously, we'll share share with you any like milestones kind of thing, but like when it comes to the journey of it, it'll be more of a
surprise.
Yeah.
All right. So, how am I going to pay off not the credit cards, but the personal debt?
Scrooge McDuck.
This is going to be stealing all of our... Bless you.
Excuse you, Gigi.
Gigi the cat just decided to have a sneezing attack.
Me too, kid. Me too.
So, we have this 100 envelope challenge, and we're doing it traditional style, where we are starting from 1 to 100, and we're stuffing $1, $2, $3, $4, all the way up to $100. Okay? If I can overstuff this, I'm gonna. Okay? And this is how we're gonna pay off some of the personal debt. And we have some numbers stuffed already, and I've been marking it off. Okay? And this personal debt that we're gonna pay, this should cover less than what I owe on, well, what I owe is what's less than the $5,050 that I would want to save. Okay, so then I will roll that debt money over into the next personal debt. Okay, and I'm just chunking all the personal debts together. I know it's gonna look big, but I'm honest with you guys, I just want to do it in 2 categories, so that way I know this personal debt went here, and this personal debt went there, and this personal debt went here. You know, that way I can feel like I'm actually making progress. We're making progress all in one shot. Okay? Because if I said $80, $100, $1,000, $500, $400, it's deceiving, because it makes it look like I'm paying off all these different little things, and really I could just pay it all off in a chunk and say I got that chunk of debt paid down to 0, and that's how I'm going to do it. It'll be way easier that way. Do you agree with that?
Fingers crossed, anyway.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, that's the point of the 100 envelope challenge for me right now, is to pay off the debt. So we'll do this however we're going to do it, however often we can do it, stuff what we can, overstuff if we can, and try to really battle these debts down. So as always, you can only do what you can with what you got, because it's all you have to work with.
Because
Spite living.
Yeah, honestly.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.
Do a kick flip.